All right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order. I'm going to ask Magistrate Nathaniel Downey if he would open us with a word of prayer, and we'll follow that with the pledge to the flag.
Everybody here is, Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for last night's laying down and this early morning rising, Lord. But please continue to put your loving hands of protection around the fiscal court members, Lord, and this community, Lord, and this state, Lord, and continue to bless the ones that's overseas, Lord, that's fighting, that's having a disruption over there, Lord. But please intervene in it, Lord, and see to it that it all come out in your manner, Lord. Lord, please continue to bless the first responders here, the medical team, Lord, this great community in which we live in, Lord. And please continue to give us the decision making that we have to continue to make at the rightful time that we have to make it, Lord. And all the wisdom and the knowledge that you give us, Lord, and bless everyone, Lord. Continue to bless everyone that's here, that's all around this world. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We're glad to have Ms. Carla Sandusky with us today for Charter Communications. She's going to share a little bit of an update of what Charter is up to here and getting fiber internet installed. Okay. Carla, we're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I always enjoy coming here. So as you know, when we started this project, we had, according to the FCC, 1,784 homes that we're going to expand broadband to.
How many homes?
1,784.
Okay.
And to date, we have activated over 21 miles of fiber and made broadband accessible to 196 homes. And not just broadband, but cable TV, mobile phone, and home phone as well.
196 homes?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
By the end of April, weather permitting, as you know, weather's not cooperated necessarily with us the last few months.
You didn't like the snow?
You know, it was nice for what little bit we had it. I can handle that for one day. It's okay. It's when it sticks around and it rains every day.
Yeah.
But hopefully, weather permitting, by the end of April, we're hoping to have 22 miles of fiber in the ground. Right now, we're currently in the process of splicing and activating that fiber.
Is this 22 miles additional to the 21 already activated?
Yes, sir.
I was hoping it wasn't just one extra mile.
Oh, no. We'd really be behind. Which will allow internet to be accessible to an additional 248 homes. Overall, our project here in Simpson County is 220 miles approximately, and we have 175 to 180 more miles to go, but we're making progress, so that's a good thing. And we're hoping to have everything completed by the end of the year.
So, I know y'all worked on kind of the north and northwest part of the county, highway, or Stevenson Road, Vance's Mill Road, I think Moody Road, Turnertown Road, I think. Have y'all worked on Turnertown Road?
We have worked on Turnertown. Yeah, Brandon did not give me my list.
He did?
He did not. But I will tell him I need a detailed list of all the roads that we've been on
If
so
we
far.
could get a
But
list of that,
yes.
that would be great.
Yes. I will make a note to do that. I do know that we've been in the Salem area. Does that sound right?
Which area?
Salem area. Does that sound correct?
Probably New Salem Road.
New Salem. Okay.
Now, I would be glad for you to be on Salem Road.
Yeah. I hadn't seen it
You haven't seen it?
on the east side.
Okay.
Salem's on the
There's a
east side.
Salem Road out off Morgantown Road.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've probably been on New Salem Road out
Okay.
off Morgantown Road.
Okay.
But we'd be very glad for you to be on Salem Road.
Oh, okay. I'll let them know that.
Yeah.
I will let them know. That doesn't mean that they will listen, so I will let them know. So I know that you have been kind and reached out to me about some concerns that some of your citizens have had. I want to address a few of those the best that I can. One thing, I know that we've had complaints about some damage to some properties, whether it's, a driveway or something like that. And I'm going to keep saying Brandon's name because he would not come with me today. He had training today, so he couldn't come. But so I can keep saying his name since he's not here to defend himself. But anyway, but he did let me know that they are working with the contractors. They're trying to stay on them to get this repaired. As you know, and as I said earlier, weather has really, we have a whole week of rain and you've had snow, and unfortunately we had tornadoes back in December. So it's really kind of slowed things down a little bit as far as the repairs, but we're staying on them. If you hear of anyone, or if anyone hears of any concerns, please do not hesitate to call me, text me, email me, anything. We'll be on each other's Christmas card list by the end of the year, so. But yes, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and let me know.
So-
I'm more than glad to
So
get with construction.
The folks that y'all are contracting with to do the install,
Right.
will they be the same crew that will be doing like driveway and yard repairs?
They should be the same crew.
No,
That is my understanding.
Okay, so here's the big question from
Okay.
what I'm getting.
Sure. Bless you.
Okay, so let's say they do go do a driveway or yard repair and so on, but it's not satisfactory to the homeowner. You're talking, is Brandon, is that?
Brandon, right. Brandon
Okay.
Edens, he is our construction manager for this
So
area.
would he be the one we would need to get out on site to look at it and say, and
Absolutely.
then?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the big thing is, Charter is committed to making sure that people's property is fixed back the way it was before they cut the hole. in the-
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Now, we understand it's going to take some time maybe for some grass to grow back. I mean, there's things that we just can't magically make happen, but yeah, I mean, if it's, fixing, smoothing out dirt and laying, putting grass seed down, moving rocks. Yes, we're dedicated to get it back to the way it was,
Okay.
for sure. Another thing, but again, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and let me know if you hear of any concerns. And I can reach out to him
Okay.
and we'll coordinate to get this. Because I know that one, you'd call me about one, he went out there to the home.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me if the homeowner was home, but his goal was to speak to the homeowner if available.
Okay.
Another concern that he brought up to me in an email that he sent me is that people are saying that they aren't aware that we're doing construction in the area. And our contractors are supposed to be putting flyers out, putting on, whether it's on mailboxes, on doorknobs.
I don't think they're doing that.
Well, right. So, that sounded like he did not say he doesn't think they're doing it, but it still sounded like it could be a concern to him. So he is working with our internal folks to see what we can do about getting mailers out, getting, whether it's flyers on our end that we go out and our folks go out and hang them on the doors, and just to notify people, let them know we're going to be in the area and about when.
Okay, that would really be helpful, because if people get home and they got a big ditch dug in their front yard, and they're like,
Right.
what in the world's going on?
Right.
And they weren't notified that it was happening, so that would really be a big help
Yeah,
too.
but yeah, he's aware of the concerns, so he's working to get that
Okay.
resolved.
I ain't got any calls on the yards, but I have a friend that farms out in that area, and the contractor went out in his wheat field, like 75 feet out in his wheat field, and set a box out in the field, and the box is no longer there because he's not gonna have them put something else out in the field for him to drive around.
Right.
But they were way out of the county right away.
Oh, really?
So I didn't know who to contact to talk to him about it, but that was a concern he had, and plus they got a vehicle stuck in the field and damaged the crop, and
Right.
he didn't know who to talk to or anything. So those contractors need to stay in. And at the last court meeting where they were talking about some of the lines were only like 6 inches off the road in places, and then in this case they were 75 feet off the
75
road.
feet. It
So,
wasn't they weren't
They
consistent.
need to be further than 6
Okay.
inches, but they don't need to be that far out in a man's field.
Is that something we need to address on how close they are to the road? You know, we
Yeah.
talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that
Yeah.
we've got some cable that's been laid within a foot of the edge of the blacktop.
And if they ever widen that road, you know, then you're, if we ever widen the road.
Right, it's gonna
Yeah, it'll
take
be
out that
an
cable,
issue
that fiber.
there, so.
Mhm. Side of road, okay.
Oh, yeah, and Bobby just pointed that out. If they do put it in a, you know, they need to be talking to our public works director when they're doing this, because if there is a plan for the road to be widened and re-ditched, it needs that, just because it's 2 foot below or 18 inches below the
Right.
surface now, if the road is widened and then it's ditched, it's gonna hit the cable. So we want to do some things to make sure that it doesn't, you know, in the future, that we plan for stuff like
So
that.
how deep are they putting the line in, or how deep are they supposed to be putting the line in?
Question number 2.
Okay,
All right,
all right. And then, if you don't mind, Carla, before you leave today, and Bobby, give her your contact number so she can get it to their, because Bobby
targets.
Groves right here is our public works supervisor.
Okay.
And so he knows what's going on the roads, where,
Okay.
you know, so if they could, you know, kind of communicate with him.
Do you have extra card by chance?
yes, sir, I do. I have plenty of cards here. I brought plenty out.
It's the same thing with any, like water lines or anything. We try to get any utility district to work with the public works. We don't want, it's bad to have something put in and then later on, you know, if you know that it's gonna be an issue, then
Right.
it's best to solve that issue in the beginning.
I totally agree. I totally agree. There's no sense in, you know, redoing the same work twice.
Exactly.
So I have 2 questions. They're
Okay.
unrelated to repair. They're back to some of the things you shared.
Okay,
You've got 196 homes in Simpson County already, that are already connected to,
that has the ability to be connected.
okay,
Yes.
you've got the ability to connect to 196 homes
Right.
right now.
That's what I've been told, yes.
Okay. And then when you say, hoping to be complete by the end of the year, is that because the orange little pieces of conduit that's going in is to pull the fiber through, correct? So you're talking about complete with installing the pipe to pull the fiber, or completely having the fiber installed?
Completely having the fiber installed to where all 1,784 homes that the FCC has identified
Okay,
can have cable.
okay.
So
broadband.
ready for connection,
I'm sorry?
ready for connection.
Yes, sir, yes.
So have they started making the rounds to the homes
To let people
to
know.
let people know?
I
that
don't know
they're
if usually when those are activated, we send a direct sales team out so they can go door to door and talk to these folks, and I will make a note of that.
I have another question for you.
Uh-huh.
Because we really are seeing a tremendous amount of residential growth, both inside and outside the city limits of Franklin.
Uh-huh.
And we're seeing a lot of homes that are being built. Let's say that someone is working, you know, they're building a home. They know they want to have fiber up there. Is there something they can do during construction to be ready for it?
Will they be in that area? Is it in one of our RDOF areas?
Mhm.
I want to say there has to be a dwelling there.
Well, I'm just saying, like when you, say for instance, you're digging a ditch to get electricity up to the house. If
Oh,
they-
can we go ahead and lay that, while they have the trench open, can we go ahead and lay our fiber?
Or, yes.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, we do that. I know we've done that before. No, I can't say in every instance.
AT&T used to do it years ago for phone line, and then everybody quit having home phones, so they quit doing it.
I know. Okay, yeah, let me ask, just to make sure. Okay, I'll ask. Boy, you are making me work for my pay today, aren't you?
Oh, man. I'm not gonna live that one down.
No,
am
you're
I?
not. So I hope this was helpful. Are there any other questions or concerns? Do you want me to look into your friends? I mean, have they damaged your friend's property on his farm?
I'll give him, he said that they got a vehicle stuck and they went out and pulled it out. Didn't say anything about it, and mounted the box out there, and he took the box out I'll call him and give him your number.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fine, that'd be fine.
That
It's,
way
and
he
just,
he'll have somebody to nobody knows who to contact.
right,
And, because the contractors are just contractors, and they're not actually, they're doing the job that they're assigned to do, so they've got to have somebody. It's the same with the EPV fiber and Warner Electric that's going up. That ain't mine, but
that's mine, I think, it's
Oh.
mine, yeah.
Don't say it's not mine.
I think it's mine, it's Brandon calling me with all my answers.
They were putting the lines above, and you couldn't say anything to the contractors. They were just doing what they were supposed to do.
Right.
So you'd have to call Warner Electric or whoever to tell them to raise the wires up. So it's the same issue.
Right.
Here, you really can't say anything to the contractors. You have to talk to Charter.
Yeah,
And
you
now-
have to
now
call
that we have
Carla.
the- Now that I have a number to give
Call
them,
Carla,
I'll be glad to do that.
You'll just call Carla,
So
so,
these repairs will be done, I've got a text since I've been in court today concerning their yard. So these repairs will be done as soon as the weather allows.
yes, sir.
All
Yes.
right, I think we have one more question.
So do folks have to wait until the sales teams do the door-to-door contact, or is there a number or something? I've had inquiries.
I can get a number. I mean, if fiber's already there, I can definitely get you a number for them to call.
Okay.
Because people really are wanting fiber internet.
They
Yeah,
are.
I mean, that's,
That's what I was gonna say, not everybody's mad, I don't want you to think they are, 'cause they're
Oh, no,
happy.
they're,
They're happy to have it.
I know, they're
There's
excited,
just some
but.
growing pains, that's going along with this.
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
and here in a few years, they'll be like, what?
Yeah.
And they'll just,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they'll just let it go, but yeah, we do, and then you have some folks that don't want it, and, they're like, why are they even here? Why are they in my property? So, so that we can get to the next
well,
person that
and
does.
and there
want
may be
it.
a few of those, but I think the vast majority of the people that live out in the county, they want it.
They do. They do. And as I said, when I was here before, I can totally understand, because I live out in these sticks, and
And really,
I have slow-mo.
right, and really, it's not just want it, I mean, you really need it
You do.
today. so.
You do, especially if you have children that's
Right.
got games and
Well,
homework and
schoolwork.
school, and you're trying to work, and,
Yeah.
so
And
it,
there's just so many more people that work from home now. I mean, even pre-COVID, there were a lot of people transitioning to work from home, but especially now.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, no doubt.
No, we're happy and excited.
Well, thank you. I'm happy and excited to be
It's
here
not
too.
all
It's just-
complaints.
No,
Yeah.
no, we're just like you said, there are just some growing pains, and we'll definitely get through them, and it's a change too, people, have to get acclimated to change. So, but if you want to text me, anything about any addresses with concerns, please do.
I would think you're out in my district, so I hadn't personally got any calls in my district. I just got one today.
Okay.
In another district, and
All right.
everything's good.
Okay, all right.
Well, we
wonderful.
appreciate you being
Oh,
with
my
us
pleasure,
today.
thank you, and I'll be back. You just call me when you're ready for me to come back, and I'll come right back and give you another update.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
All right, thank you, now.
Maybe National Cake Day.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. All right, we also have with us today, gentleman, Senator Mitch McConnell's field representative for our area, Gilbert Mitchell. He's going to come and share a few things that are happening that's going to be good for some Kentuckians. Gilbert, it's good to have you with us.
Good to be here, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Like Judge Barnes said, my name is Gilbert Mitchell, field representative for Senator Mitch McConnell's office. I did want to share a few things that have recently been going on in D.C. And then I don't think necessarily all of these will have a major impact necessarily for Simpson County, but maybe some of the surrounding counties. Some of this will be dealing with tornado relief. And so, if you have kin in surrounding counties that have been affected, this can help them. But a bill from a few months ago that did pass that affected orphaned oil wells. We recently got a count back on that, so as far as Simpson County is concerned, I think there's about 65 known orphaned oil wells, and there's money in there for that. I think total for Kentucky was about 104 million, and that varies county to county. If you're looking at historical mining counties in western Kentucky, it's going to be kind of Union County and coming down to Muhlenberg County, and like my home county, Davis County or Owensboro, I think the orphaned wells go up to 800 just for that one county, so it varies. But recently in the federal legislature, they passed the omnibus bill to fund the federal government for the rest of the year. And so in there are just a few things that I'm going to highlight really quickly. There's $350 million for Essential Air Service Program, which is going to benefit Barkley Regional Airport in Paducah and the Owensboro regional area. There's $321 million to support workers performing necessary environmental cleanup operations. There's going to be $30 million going to the Delta Regional Authority for other community rural needs. You got $40 million for the U.S. Department of Agriculture for Rural Community Facilities Program. There's also going to be, the biggest thing is going to be in relation to FEMA with the tornado recovery. FEMA originally always does about a 75% cost share. When President Biden came down to Mayfield, he announced a 100% cost share for the first 30 days. Governor Beshear, of course, asked for an extension of that to make it 60 days, another 30 days, and that was denied. He then went back for another 30-day extension at 90%, and that was also denied. In this bill, federal government will now match up to that 90%, and it won't just be for the 30 days. It'll be for all of it. So they'll still get that first 100% cost share for the first 30 days, and the rest will be 90%. But this is going to include all natural disasters from 2020, 2021, and then also the tornadoes at the start of this year, January 1st. And so just from awards that FEMA has already given, I think it's over 26 million. And we know that that's going to come to Kentucky because that they're still going to get that 75%, that 15% bump up to 90 from everything that's already been filed and claimed. And I think for instance, the winter storm in 2020, what's already been claimed is over 9 million for those storms. And that's the only one so far that's actually made claims for things like hazard mitigation. And so things from the 2021 flooding, from the tornado, we actually expect the hazard mitigation claims on that to be higher. And so that's just going to continue to grow. I think currently for the tornadoes, it's about 650,000. And so we expect, again, that number to go over 9 million from what the 2020 winter flood was. And so that's a lot of money that'll come to Kentucky as well, on top of that initial 15% bump that we already know will be 26 million. So that's everything going on. I wish I could give more news on things like Ukraine. I don't have much information to share. I know a lot of people ask. You're welcome to come talk to me. I was with the senator that Thursday when we woke up and realized that Russia had invaded. And that was a crazy day and a daunting day for sure, but obviously our heart goes out to the Ukraine people. So thank you all.
And I think that people are interested and very concerned about what's going on there, but I think maybe one of the top concerns for people across this country, especially right here, is will the federal government do anything to try to take care of these gas prices and the rising inflation? I mean, I think there's things that could be done, but is there anything that you're aware of that you can share that they're trying to do?
Yeah, so there's just a few things that are out there, and I would say these are more whispers than any certainties. I think it's very well known that the president is seeking help from other countries to assist with oil, such as Venezuela and some other countries like that. Something else is, a lot of people are talking about the pipeline. The issue with the pipeline that the president shut down as soon as he became president with the executive order is it takes multiple weeks to reopen that pipeline. You have to open it up into sections. It's not just the flip of a switch, and it's also a multi-million-dollar investment. And so when you get these different natural gas or oil companies invested in that pipeline, they kind of want a guarantee. And so the problem is anybody who is trying to reduce fossil fuels, if they can't have a guarantee that the pipeline will be open for at least 3 years, then it's not financially even worth it for them. They won't even break even. And so if they were going to do that, they wouldn't do it unless they had that 3-year guarantee. You're not going to reduce this. You're not going to strip this away, put any more restrictions that have already been put on. So that's some other things. Some people are talking about that there's already leases for oil across the country, just people aren't using them. And so, in the past, for instance, there's been, at the federal level, I want to say this was maybe 5 years ago, someone presented a tax, and basically it was the government was going to tax you if you had a lease to drill for oil and you weren't using it. And it was to kind of incentivize people to actually drill for oil. So I don't know, that's an angle that people have mentioned, but I'm not really sure.
Well, I know fuel prices and gas prices, everybody uses those every day, and that's on a lot of people's mind. But the prices that haven't hit yet is your food prices.
Right.
And,
Chickens.
and I farm for a living. My fertilizer prices are double what they were last year, and the grain prices are up too, fortunately. But the end user is the one that's going to suffer the most because, the processors are the one that make the money off the ag products. And so when you go and that loaf of bread goes from what it is now and it doubles, or that gallon of milk doubles, or that box of cereal doubles, that's when it's really going to affect everybody. And you're already seeing it some in the grocery stores now, but it's going to get a lot worse because these people that are buying the wheat or the corn and they're making the products out of it, they're adding, every time it goes through a hand, they add profit to it. And the end consumer is going to pay. And I know, like, we have a chicken Tyson industry here. And I can assure you their cost of their soybean meal, which is just one of their ingredients, it's probably tripled. And the cost of the corn that they feed those chickens have tripled. And so when they sell that meat to the McDonald's, which is one of their biggest concerns, you're not going to see that $1.50 meal or whatever it is. It's going to be $5.
Right.
And so I don't know if the people in Washington are thinking that far ahead, but this country's going to get hit hard with food prices, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be looking for assistance somehow or another. And I know in the ag budget, people talk about how much money is in the ag budget, but the biggest majority of that ag budget is food stamps. And so they're going to have to be looking at doing something to help, because people simply aren't going to be able to afford to eat as much, because the prices are going to be so high. You're going to have to, when I talked to a guy at a gas station yesterday, he said, I'm trying to decide how much gas I can put in the car because I need to have some money left over to eat.
Yeah.
So, the people are already having to make that decision. How much gas can I have to cut down my travel, and I also have to cut down my food. So the senator and those people in Washington need to realize that it's not just gas prices, it's food, the plastics, everything that petroleums do, and they need to, it's going to get bad if something isn't done quick.
Yeah, choosing between paying for utilities or buying groceries.
Yeah.
It's a bad choice to have to make.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I got a question. The last couple of conferences that I've been to, they've been really pushing these electric cars. And eventually, I know that's going to have some effect on the oil. Now, coming from D.C., are they really talking about these electric companies or these cars being pushed a lot in the near future?
Well, so with the original infrastructure package, electric cars were talked about a lot. I think something that people aren't talking about is, I do think they're going to get pushed regardless. I think you've got the companies themselves that are going to push them because, Ford, for instance, Ford knows that there's going to be a day, whether it's 10 years from now or 20 years from now, where gas vehicles have been pushed out. So they're working on that to benefit their own profit. But two, obviously you have the Democratic Party, it's a big agenda item for them. And so they're currently the ones in control of the presidency, the House and the Senate. And so it's something that they're constantly trying to push through. A big problem that we're going to face is infrastructure. So like, for instance, my home neighborhood, it's not that big of a neighborhood, but if every home had an electric car today, the electric grid for that neighborhood couldn't support it. If they all go to plug in their car, it wouldn't work. There's just not a capacity for it. So it'll get pushed, and I don't know what they'll have on the grid. I mean, it just depends on how big of a boom and if people can really go out and afford to buy a new car. And, I think that's another thing is the market will demand it. The government might say we can't sell any more gas cars, for instance, or fossil fuel cars, but people still have to go buy the actual Tesla, for instance. so,
Okay, all right, thank you.
yeah.
All right. I got a question. The last time you were here, we asked about they were thinking about closing the USDA office here like in May. And our soil conservation group, that's where their office is. So
Right.
yeah, I didn't know if you, from the last time we spoke, I mean, I haven't talked to you since, but you might, check, because they're going to have to find a home if that's going to happen.
No, I'll look into that again. I'm glad you mentioned that. I thought maybe that our DC office had actually reached out to you, so that's good to know. I'll look into that.
Could have the soil conservation, she hasn't told me, but anyway, I will talk to her and tell her I spoke with you.
Okay,
We'll
yeah,
try.
maybe our DC office has reached out to her, but I'll follow up on our end as well.
Okay, all
Be
right,
happy
thank
to.
you.
Yeah, anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gilbert. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our March 1st regular court meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
Myron.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next item, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our March 1st special call joint city-county meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
Motion.
Got a motion by Scott, second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Next is second reading and passage of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.236. It's amendment number 6. I need a motion and a second to have second reading and final passage of this amendment.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? Pam, on the ordinance, will do the roll call.
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next, gentlemen, this is another second reading. This is a zone change ordinance, ordinance number 920.120. It's a change from ag to I-2. Again, this is the property that's at the state line that's there where there's all type of industrial buildings and such already. So we would need a motion and a second to have second reading, or pass second reading and final passage of this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Myron, second by Marty. Any question or discussion? On that one, we will also have a roll call, Pam.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. The next one, gentlemen, is another ordinance. This would be first reading of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.237. This would be amendment number 7. This is amending in some reimbursement and refund money. Also, the cash transfer in from ARPA. You remember we had a discussion about covering the 50% cost, so we've got to get that money put in the right place in the budget. So we would need a motion and a second for the first reading of this ordinance.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Scott, second by Nate. Any question or discussion? Pam will do a roll call on the first reading.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review, we have a reappointment to the Simpson County Water District, and the recommendation is to reappoint Stephen Snyder to a 4-year term, which would end on April 14th of 2026.
So
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, the next two items we have with us Diana Crockett. Diana, we'll let you come up. I'm not in trouble, am I? Okay, good. I thought her and Carla were gonna gang up on me before the meeting started. But, you've seen, I laid in front of you guys this, booklet that Brad has helped us with on the strategic planning and hazard mitigation. Some good information in there. We had the final meeting, was it last Thursday?
Yes.
And there's some directives in there that people will be getting information on how we follow up to make sure that we attain some of these goals. And we'll also use it to work on a growth plan too. But Brad is asking us to do a resolution adopting these plans as presented in this booklet. It's good information. And I'll let you speak about it a little bit because Diana and Emily Hathcock and Mary Adams have worked hard here in Simpson County to help us get this put together, and we appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. So as you all know, BRAD is a regional planning agency, and as part of our role, we do work on these regional plans. Every 5 years, we update the comprehensive economic development strategy, do a complete rewrite, and also the regional hazard mitigation plan. So we took a very holistic approach this time. Instead of just giving you these 2 regional plans, we wanted to give everybody a county strategic plan for one of our counties, and we've been using those county strategic plans to feed into those regional plans and using those action items in those. So with this process and incorporating this all together, the end goal was for you to have that practical strategic plan for your county that would feed into our larger plans, and then also leverage some local resources as well and give you some directives on how to make Simpson County better. So in front of you, you have a copy of the final county strategic plan. This has been a year-long process we've been working on with monthly meetings with the committee. Everybody's been attending those meetings, putting out surveys, having public meetings and inviting the public to attend and give their feedback, and trying to think of different ways to get as much feedback as we possibly can from the citizens. So you can find an online version of this plan on our planning.brad.org website. And if you're looking at this county final plan, on the back you have our planning website listed and also our hazard mitigation website. And then the first half of this plan really is a lot of facts and statistics on Franklin and Simpson County. And then the last half of this plan, the bulk of it is all of those objectives that the committee has worked on for last year on what they want to try to achieve when this plan is completely put into action. So with that, first resolution is for that county strategic plan. That second resolution is to approve all of these goals and objectives that are hazard mitigation related to feed into our larger regional hazard mitigation plan, and then also for the county to adopt the regional hazard mitigation plan. Per FEMA regulations and federal statute, you are required to have and adopt a regional hazard mitigation plan if you want to qualify for mitigation grant funding. And so the BRAD puts together this regional plan using all of the feedback from the counties on what projects are needed, looking at all of the hazards. So this year, this rewrite for the plan, we did it completely online to make it more user-friendly and have interactive maps and data tools and anything available so you can really get down into looking exactly how these various hazards affect your community as a whole. And so that's the second resolution that we're asking everybody to adopt. And then with that, I have also laid out a flyer. The Hazard Mitigation Grant Program is now open. If you're looking at that flyer, and just a quick feedback, this is grant funding that's coming down from FEMA because of those 2 disasters that we had, the December 11th tornadoes and then the January 1st tornadoes again. So now you can apply for grant funding statewide from those disasters, and there's going to be a lot of money that's going to come down through grants. So 75% of the funding comes from FEMA. The state puts in another 12%, and so your local match ends up being 13%. I worked with Bob to put in a safe room project for the park last fall, and that was selected to now move forward and complete a full application to FEMA. But that means you can still apply for more projects. You can put in more than one project in this pool as well, so you're not limited or anything. I have some counties where I have 2 or 3 projects open at a time. and all going at the same time. Just because it is a slower process, you're not looking at having any financial commitment within the next year or so anyways. Because once we complete that full application to FEMA, they'll sit on it for a year or two before they issue a contract. So I know sometimes the match is always a concern for communities and how to come up with that money, but there are various ways. A safe room, you can use that property as part of your match, the value of that property that you're putting it on. You can use in-kind matching, you can use donations. So it's really not just a hard cash match. We can find other ways to get those matching funds in there for projects. The projects overall, it's pretty broad. You can do just about anything that will mitigate a natural disaster and protect lives and property. So you can't buy a forklift. We've had that question before, but if you can make an argument how it can protect lives and property and mitigate a natural disaster, then we can try to go for it.
But we could maybe elevate roadways
Yes.
that are in flood-prone areas.
Yes.
Yeah, because we've talked about possibly applying for something like that to work on some of these roads that every time we get one of these 2 or 3 inch rains in an hour, we have to close the road. And,
So do you all have any questions about the resolutions, about the grant program that's open, or anything that I can help you with?
About the project, so you can submit multiple projects? Okay.
And the State Mitigation Council gets together and then kind of ranks those projects and then starts selecting projects until they run out of funds. And then sometimes what ends up happening is somebody has put in a project, but then by the time they get selected, they may not be able to go through with it. So then you might get notified a little bit later as well of your project. But they can stay in there for as long as you want, and we can just keep resubmitting that with each new disaster that comes down.
and we've got, sitting up here at the desk, we have a stack of these catalogs. If anyone here wants one, or if you're watching and you say, hey, I would like to have one, we will have some here at the courthouse if you want to stop by and pick one up.
Yeah.
But you can also do it online, planning.brad.org or hazards.brad.org. You can pull it up online and look at it that way also.
Very good job.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, y'all have done a great,
Make sure everybody understands that we have to have these projects in the mitigation plan, or they can't be put in, correct?
Can you repeat that last part?
Any of these proposed projects have to be in the mitigation plan.
Yes. And I think with this rewrite, we really did keep it broad enough that we could put in anything. I think
So
we
if
tried
anybody's
to.
got ideas of something to mitigate, let me know, please.
okay.
That, and if you think of if you're looking through this plan and you're like, oh, you have a good idea for something that should be in the plan that's not in these objectives, let us know, because we will continue meeting with the county committee on a quarterly basis. So we will have an option to amend those plans and submit that as well,
Very good.
so that we can always keep changing and we don't have to wait another 5 years to do an update. By doing it online, it makes it a lot easier to do all of this, because the last plan, I think you can ask Bob, was like 900 pages. And so I don't think anybody really went through that and used it.
It's down there, John.
Did you read it all, Bob? You don't have to answer. You don't have to answer.
So, any questions?
Come on. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much.
So gentlemen, we would need to have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution for the 2022 County Strategic Plan.
Motion made.
Got a motion by, and authorize the county judge to sign that resolution. Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then next is a similar motion. We need a motion to adopt the resolution for the Brad Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan update and authorize the county judge to sign that resolution.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott,
Second.
second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you've had an opportunity to review the employee payroll resolution number 2022-03-15 EMP-PW, we'd need a motion and a second to approve that employee resolution and authorize the county judge to sign it. And this is for the seasonal workers that we get every spring.
So moved.
I had 3 all at one time, and I don't know who said. I heard Nate and Marty.
That's fine.
Okay. So I had a motion by Nate, second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, the next two are similar motions. This is some information, if y'all have read this over, that Compass has given to us and been reviewed by Stites and Harbison for what we need to do moving forward to expend this ARPA money. So we would need a motion to approve the procurement policy for ARPA purchases and authorize the county judge to sign that policy.
So moved.
Motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then in conjunction with that, Stites and Harbison has suggested that we approve this ARPA expenditure approval, and I don't know that it requires my signature, but it might. Let's just put that as part of the motion. Is it, yeah, okay, I thought I did. So motion to approve the ARPA expenditure approval letter and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So move.
Motion by Nate, second by Scott. Any other question or discussion?
Now, these numbers that they have on here for like the salaries and stuff, that's just the amount we could do, right?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
because we're not voting to do that.
No,
We're just-
no,
Okay.
no. No, sir. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. And finally, gentlemen, and we'll have to ask the county attorney a question here. We discussed the interlocal agreement with the city for the radio communication equipment at our joint meeting. They've got the interlocal agreement finalized. I'm sure you've reviewed it, Sam.
It's fine. I've also, I'm going to lie, belatedly got put together an ordinance authorizing us to enter into it and have you sign off on it. I've got a rough draft. I was out about half a day yesterday, and so I should have it for you all to look at probably this evening or in the morning. I just didn't get it done by today.
That was going to be the question. So we have to enter this interlocal agreement
By
by
ordinance.
ordinance. And we need the ordinance first.
Correct. I'm sorry, gentlemen, I just didn't get it to you, and we'll have to come back at our, I would ask that we put it on our special call meeting, the end of the month. I think that gives us enough time to advertise it, doesn't it?
So
2 weeks.
Well, it won't be advertised until after that first reading.
yeah.
But I'm
And
just
we
saying-
won't meet again till the third Tuesday in April. Yeah, it'll be the 19th.
So,
Me-
so let me ask you this. In this right here, it says we have to have that money paid by April the 4th.
Well, we've got a contract with Motorola to pay it. We can pay it. The purpose mainly of the interlocal agreement is that the city and the county both agree to cover 50% of the cost. And then the biggest provision in here, if you guys read it, was if one or the other opted out of it, that you had a 20-year period of depreciation. And so like if the city come and said, you know what, we no longer want to do this, if there was any value left of that, we would pay them their half of the remaining value and let them out, or vice versa if the county wanted to opt out. So, I mean, this basically is just an agreement between the city and the county saying we're going to cover 50%.
Mm-hmm.
We already have the contract with Motorola, so we're obligated to make that payment. This just kind of makes it official.
Sets up a framework.
Yeah, so I mean, we're good to make that payment. The payment agreement's between the county and Motorola. This is just an agreement between the city and the county on maintenance and repair, and if one or the other were to opt out, so.
Okay.
So we just need to table this one,
Table.
probably till our April 19th meeting when we can have second reading of the ordinance, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So
But-
we are going to have first reading on this at the special call
At-
on
on the 29th.
So I said if you would put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm
But-
sorry, I just want to make sure we don't.
But in premise and theory, I think all of us are agreeable that we're good with the interlocal agreement to bear the cost 50/50 with the city and, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Moving into the financial side of the agenda, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
So move.
Got a motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the cash transfer, this is the $1,475,071 from the ARPA fund to the general fund. This was the federal ARPA fund money. We got to get it moved to the general fund in order to make that payment to the Motorola. Myron's got the motion, second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next is to approve the cash transfer of $8,887.38 from the federal grant fund to the general fund. This is 2 months of the HIDA funding money.
So move.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Scott. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we would need a motion and a second to approve those bills and claims as presented. And so, yeah.
So move.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion about the bills or claims? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then finally, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the February 28, 2022 financial statement, we need a motion and a second to approve that financial statement subject to audit and authorize the county treasurer and county judge to sign it.
So moved.
Motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Scott. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, I've got a few items here under my reports to deal with. One is just, and I don't think I shared this at the last meeting, but we got a thank you letter from United Way. There was some money collected here through a group that worked on tornado crisis, and they just sent us, and the county sent that money on, and it was all donated money, and the United Way sent a thank you letter thanking us for helping with that. Then on the portal, this was put on the portal, the community action information. This is just a breakdown of the funding and how they've used this, the availability of emergency food and shelter funds, and it shows the portion of that money that has been used here in Simpson County. So I just wanted to bring that to y'all's attention and let you see that. As we've already talked about, we will do a special called court meeting on March the 29th at 8:30 a.m. Sam, do we have to cancel our regular meeting by vote, or just announce that it's
Just
canceled?
announce it.
So we'll do the special called meeting on March the 29th. We will cancel our regular meeting on April 5th at spring break week. I know we've got a few that's going to be out for spring break.
I appreciate that, as does my wife, so
Yeah.
thank you.
So, and we're really in good shape because March the 29th is a 2-week time frame, and we would have had a 3-week time frame from now till our April meeting, and we'll just have a 3-week time frame from that special called meeting to our 3rd week in April. So I think we're good there. Another question that's come up, we've talked about, and we've done this since I've been here, we voted to set speed limits, but Pam has information that previously, in years past, speed limits were set by ordinance. So this question comes to the counselor again. Can we, by vote of the court, establish a speed limit without an ordinance? Or did they just do an ordinance then to be safe rather than sorry?
The short answer is I made an inquiry to my various listserv questions of various county attorneys, and this is almost unprecedented. I got static for an answer, which I don't think I've ever had that happen before. And I think so the short answer is what probably happened, if I had to hazard a guess, in the past is they, out of an abundance of caution, they used an ordinance, and that way, if, as I told you before, you take it to court, you know, if you're caught speeding on a highway, you have to cite what they're violating. Sheriff can tell you that better than anybody. What statute, what law, what ordinance, whatever you're charging somebody with, you have to rely on a statute or some kind of law that someone has alleged to have violated. And if you don't, the case does not stand. And so it's either a KRS or sometimes we have county ordinances. Like, for example, someone doesn't pay their occupational tax. Eventually, as Nicole can tell you, unfortunately, once in a great while, we have to bring a misdemeanor case in district court. Fortunately, that seems to bring everybody to their milk, so to speak. And so, but it's the violation of a county ordinance. I thought I'd throw one in there.
Thank you, sir. We always appreciate those.
So that was the short answer.
The short answer. Yes, do you want me to expound even further? Lawyers get paid by the word, didn't you know? But no, seriously, I think they did that as a means of abundance of caution.
Well, here's the question then, Sam, that I would have.
I can keep talking, Marty, if you want me to.
No, let's move to.
I understand,
as
Judge.
Barney would say, let's nip this in the bud and move on.
Okay.
The question is, do we have the ability to do what we might call a traffic ordinance that would say that any speed limit or traffic regulation that the fiscal court may deem necessary can be enacted by a vote of the court, or would every action to be enforceable have to be done by ordinance?
I think you can probably do one ordinance saying that county roads, obviously this would not apply to state highways or city streets.
Correct.
But as to county roads, the fiscal court certainly has the authority to set speed limits. If you wish to, what you're probably going to need to do, when you do that, you're probably going to need to have some kind of breakdown, because one size does not fit all. I mean, some county roads, at least portions of them, you can get away with 55 miles an hour. Some other portions, it's probably more lends itself to 35 or 45, depending on, population and so forth. And so I think you can do that, but I think you're going to have to make provisions or classifications of roads, what qualifies as a 55, because as I said, that's one of the reasons they may have just done one ordinance at a time, is because one size does not fit all.
I was reading some ordinances before the meeting, and a road in my district, Henson Road, in 2000, they had actually lowered the speed limit to 25. And then in 2002, they had another ordinance that raised it to 45. So, and it started out at 55. So, it's just.
And I agree that seems too much aggravation. But what I am saying is, I think you need to, and I would probably want to consult with you fellas. And not that I'm all for talking about it in an open meeting. I'm just saying, on details on how you want to classify some of this stuff, what you got on your minds, because the last thing I want to do is try to cobble something together without input from the court about, I don't mind drafting an ordinance, and I think you can do it with one ordinance, Judge, is the answer, but I think you're going to need, my respectful suggestion is you try to do it, you set up some kind of classifications, so, I don't think you're going to be able to go through here and say, this road here, except for this part of the road, this road here, and just go down the list. Go ahead.
It sounds like the short answer is we really do. If we want it to be enforceable, it does need to be done by ordinance. And then that begs the question of the ones that have been established in the past 3 years that have not been done by ordinance, do we need to go back and pick all of those up and do an ordinance?
Sad but true, yes.
All right. Let's stick a knife in that one, or a fork, I think is the saying. It will be done there. One other thing that I want to share, I just got this information yesterday. The Lieutenant Governor will be here at the courthouse on March the 24th, approximately 10 a.m. to present a check for the Cleaner Water Grant Program. So that'll be taking place here March the 24th. That's all I've got. Marty, you have anything?
I was going to ask about that speed limit, but that's.
Oh, well, you can.
No.
We'll beat that dead horse some
I got all
more.
the answers I need.
We'll flog that dead horse.
I will, I had an online training Monday and Wednesday, but on the one, there was the issue of the administrative code was brought up, and by KRS, a magistrate cannot bring, the only time a magistrate can bring that change up is in June. So if any of the four of us have an administrative code change or we need to review that, it's in June, but the judge executive can bring up a
Anytime.
change at any time.
Yeah.
But it has to pass by a 2/3 vote, so that is something that.
Which brings me, I forgot that because I handed y'all all that information. The information that I gave you guys, remember we discussed this in our last meeting about the possibilities of, county employees that are working for vendors or suppliers that the county does business with. So I put the question out to the Judge Executives Association to see what other counties are doing. And the 3 emails that you see here are the responses that I got back. You see the one judge says, we don't have anything about this, but it's a great idea. Then you see the 2 counties that responded back with their ordinances. So I forwarded this information on to Rich Ornstein to see how would be the best way to draft it. I haven't heard back from him, but I think it makes sense. It's like the one county that has the conflict of interest clause in their administrative code. There's no doubt it's a definite conflict of interest if you're working somewhere and you're also buying goods from them. So if y'all are good, I will get you the information from Rich, and we'll continue to take a look at this.
Judge, that reminds me, since we're already going into executive session to talk about pending litigation, I would like to add an additional pending litigation discussion as well.
That's all I have.
Nate, you have anything?
I don't have anything.
No, sir.
Sean?
Don't report.
Myron? Counselor?
Pay your taxes.
Is the sheriff still back there? Sheriff, you have your report?
Not here to ask for any money, but the July budget, the budget that kicks in July, we have allocated some money for vehicles. You haven't messed with vehicles for a while. It's the same story I've had in the past, that it takes about a year to get vehicle, but now prices are starting to drastically shoot up on state contracts and everything else. What I would ask is you allow that money we have allocated for vehicles for me to go ahead and start looking. There's nothing in particular I'm looking to buy, but you might come across something that will save us money in the long run. Unless you say I can do that, then if I call to get a PO, even though we may not get the vehicle for a year, So we're not actually writing the check. Nicole will tell me, and she's a sweetheart, can't do it because it's not July. But if you authorize me, is that correct, Nicole?
We're going to have to do an amendment, so if you all are okay with the current amendment that we have on first reading today, I'm trying to find that number real quick. Is it 84,000 in your budget?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
If you are okay, are all okay with it, we'll go ahead and add that amount onto this amendment that we just approved first reading. We may have to go back to it and reapprove it, but, and then, once we have second reading on the 29th, you'll be good to go.
An example, just so you realize how important this is, I talked to somebody yesterday. The state contract on a pickup truck was $28,000. It's about what we got a pickup truck. Great deal. Looking at $38,000 to $39,000, I'm not saying that's what we're buying. I'm just saying that's what it's going to on state contract. That's a $10,000 increase approximately. So anyway, it's important if you give me the freedom to be able to research it. That's what I try to do to save us money in the long run.
So I got two questions on
Yes,
that. Being they went up that much, even if we're gonna buy it on state contract, we'll have to bid it, because the bid is anything over 30,000 now, correct?
If you buy it from the person that has the state contract, no, you don't have to bid it.
Yeah.
If you buy it from a different place, even though the other place says, hey, I can get it to you for the same price as a state contract, you would have to bid it out because it is over 30.
Okay, and so what you're basically, we're changing our budget to do the 84,000, but you're on the calendar year and we're on fiscal year, so it really won't affect your budget is that?
Well, my understanding is, if I'm understanding, because I'm trying to learn this whole accounting procedure and what the auditors say, if the sheriff finds a vehicle or two or whatever, and he says, I need to put these on contract, he has to get a PO. In order for the ladies in my office to issue a PO, that money has to be accounted for in our budget. It may not be expended, most likely won't be expended until after we start the next fiscal year, but they can't issue a PO if that money's not showing on the budget.
I totally understand that. What I was saying though is if it was after July 1, we wouldn't have to change anything.
No, we probably won't, because he's not going to get it. I'll
But
still
because
have to.
he's on a calendar year and we're on a fiscal year, for him to do it before July 1, we gotta make a
Yes.
budget amendment to ours,
Yes.
but it's not gonna change
I
his
got
at
to put
all.
it in this budget, and then it's
Right.
just going to roll.
Oh, into the
And
next.
that way he can go ahead and order it, and then it's just
Correct.
going to roll into the next.
I'm fine
Yes.
with it.
Yeah. So
So it's actually 86,000,
86,000.
and I'm gonna pull that from surplus prior year, and then put that into the sheriff vehicle line item, so. And
So-
again, second reading on the 29th.
So Counselor, here's the question now. We're going to make an amendment to the budget amendment we just approved, the first reading. We can do that?
You're going to have to go back and move to amend.
Okay, so we need a motion to amend our previous,
Well, I would suggest you use the same people who moved and seconded, if they're okay with that.
this would be to amend budget ordinance number.
Poston and Downey?
Who? Poston and Downey? So this would be to move to amend budget ordinance number 220.237, amendment number 7, to amend in this $86,000. And we had the motion by
Scott and Nate.
Nate.
I'm good with it.
Okay, so Scott's going to make the motion to amend that in. Nate was second.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming since this is ordinance related, we need a roll call.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Marty Chandler.
Yes.
Myron Thurman.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Go
Thank you,
hunting
gentlemen.
cars, Sheriff. Jailer, you have anything?
No, sir, all's good.
Okay. Chief, anything with fire department? Bob, anything with emergency management? You're not coming up here to tell us what all 900 pages of that document say, are you?
No, I'd have to knock the dust off of it. I seen it as we were making it, but I never looked at it again, I'll just be honest about it. The wheels of government turns really slow most of the time, right?
They're square.
But sometimes they spin really fast, so I want Senator McConnell's representative to come back up here and share something with you that we just found out.
Just now found out?
Just now found out.
Wow.
And
Did
maybe
they
if I-
already turn the pipeline back on?
Yeah, celebration. No, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Gosh, no, you were discussing the hazard mitigation grant that would be statewide that people can apply for, and that she was offering the breakdown, the 75% by FEMA, 12% and 13%. So I checked with our office, this omnibus bill that passed, that the senator specifically got this language put in, it's everything that FEMA has from the Stafford Act. So, you know, if a county got category A and B, like a lot of counties did from the tornado or all the way down to G, then they get all of that. This also includes hazard mitigation. So instead of that 75% cost share, that should also be 90%.
Wow.
Great.
And so that's the understanding from our legislative aide who specifically works on FEMA. And so again, I think this passed, actually I have it here, I believe it passed last Friday and it's still waiting to be signed, but I think we anticipate it to be signed this week. Let me double check. Yep.
So if that is, it goes from 75 to 90, on this, when it was 75, it was 12% state, 13% local. Does that mean 5% state, 5% local on that other 10%? Or how?
That's
Does anybody know
it's
how
a
that?
really good question.
Okay.
You know, the state may
Depends on
decide
how
to
good our
bless
state
you.
representative and state senators are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't know if that was, if that had been brought
Yeah,
up.
because I mean, you're right. If you get 90%, that only leaves a 10%. Where does that put the state and the county's obligation?
Right. It could
But
be five on
either way, it doesn't
five.
matter. We're in better shape all the way around.
Yeah, even if we had to pay the whole 10%.
We're only at 10%.
Yeah, you're still
Right,
saving
versus
percentages.
13, so,
That saves money anyway.
yeah.
So,
Well, that's good news.
okay.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Carter, anything with planning and zoning? Bobby, anything with the road department?
I'll follow up on the vehicle discussions the sheriff had. I had planned for our next budget, our largest item purchase, we were going to purchase another dump truck, a tandem. In 2018, we have a tandem with snow equipment on it, state contract, that truck was $148,000. I talked to the company that has a contract still, he told me to use the number of 200,000 for that truck this coming year. But like everything else, there's a catch to it. If we wait until July and order that truck, July 2022, he said it probably will be the fall of 2024 before that truck's delivered.
Wow.
So they've put a term in their contracts for the cities and the counties, and he said possibly the state might start using it. But right now, if we would go ahead and, don't have to have a PO to put the order in, but if we would sign the contract, there's a term in there that you have an out by August the 1st. That way you can get your budget set up and have it for your budget lined up, but you at least have your name in for the truck to be lined up. And of course, I haven't seen the contract. We'd have to get the price in and see what it says, but that's what they said is you would have until August the 1st to cancel that, and you're under no obligation.
So basically, we would just sign an agreement that we want to purchase this truck, and we have an option to opt out of it
Yes.
up to August 1st. So if
Yeah.
it doesn't work in the budget planning,
Yeah.
we.
So what I would like to do is, if you all are okay, we can go ahead and get the pricing and that contract and see exactly what it says, and if it's agreeable, we could go ahead and get our name in, and pretty much what you're doing, you're putting yourself ahead of the state, because in July, the state usually orders 75 to 100 trucks. And so when you're behind them, you're pushed back that far.
So what's the expected date on it if you order it before
He said
July?
if we were to do this now, he pretty sure that you could get it before the end of 2023. He said if you wait till July to order it, he won't even get the chassis to them until sometime in 2024.
Oh, it's like that everywhere. I
Yeah.
ordered a new corn planter last year
Yeah.
in June, and
Well, I
I'm not
mean,
gonna get it in time to plant.
We
corn
ordered
this year.
pickups the second week of August, and we're still waiting for them. It's going to be 2 more months before they get them. So this is just an option for us to use he said they put it in for the cities and the counties, but he said now they've already been contacted the state's wanting to, he said if they do it, then it's all, you're just in the same thing. But I would like to at least get the pricing and get that contract to see what it is, and if we can go ahead and send it in. And then as long as we have our way out, I think our budget will be fine, and we can get a PO then at July.
So it's something you're gonna budget anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna budget it. We're running a 2002 tandem that's, I hope it makes it
We
till something comes
would
in.
likely, I guess, need a motion and a second to authorize this, or to enter into this contract and authorize county
Can
judge
judge to sign it, yes.
So moved.
Bluegrass International, they have a state contract for the trucks.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty,
Second.
second by, would you say, I heard Nate and Myron at the same
I
time.
think it was Myron.
Okay, so the second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Bobby, I want to also say,
That motion
tell the guys
carries.
that they did a good job on Saturday. The snow didn't last long, but they were out and getting the roads cleared off
I'm
pretty
sorry.
quick.
Yeah,
And I
thank y'all
appreciate that.
Hit my big belly out.
G-Bone Road, that repair, appreciate it.
Whatever we need.
All right, gentlemen, next, I need a motion and a second to enter into executive session according to KRS 61.810, exceptions to open meetings, paragraph 1C, discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the public agency, and paragraph F, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee.
So moved.
Motion by Nate,
I'll second.
second by Marty. All in favor, aye. Aye. Motion carries. We'll take about a 5